story of a couple that got married and moved to Manhattan. Now, they lived in a beautiful apartment, 18th floor. They had a gorgeous view of the entire city. And mamash, it was high class. The building itself was fully loaded. You had a gym, you had a swimming pool, a restaurant, a little grocery store. Everything you needed was found in that building. However, unfortunately, while the building was basically perfect, their marriage was far from it. And they had a lot of ups and downs. They had more downs than ups. They were constantly fighting. And there was one thing that specifically bothered the husband a lot. He couldn't stand it. What was it? He couldn't stand the fact that his wife was not precise with time. Never on time with anything. He was very makpid. He wanted dinner 8 o'clock. She had it by 8:10. Khalas, he would throw a tantrum. Go crazy. Right? He had a party to go to. He told her you have to be ready by 7:30. She wasn't ready till 8. Again, he would go crazy about it. I know some guys are probably like, Alavai, we could find such a girl, right? Not so bad. But this guy, he could, every minute that he was off, it would get him frustrated. Suddenly, one day this guy just stormed out of his apartment, started running down the stairs. 18, 17, 16, 15, he's huffing and puffing, it's a long ride down. Right? He finally gets to 10th floor, 7th, 5th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, he gets to the lobby, he's screaming, help! Help, I need help! So the doorman, Jose, hears this. He's like, Ibn, what's going on over here? He quickly runs. He runs to the staircase. He's like, what happened? What's going on over here? So the guy's like, I need help. He's like, just calm down, tell me. He says, my wife wants to jump out the window. Why? So Jose's not thinking, how do I deal with the situation? So he tells him, listen, amigo, I know you for many years. Since you got married, you've been in this building. I'm telling you, she always frustrates you. Every single morning, you're sitting in your car, you're getting all angry, you're honking, and you're frustrated. She comes down, you guys start fighting every single morning for the past 2 years. Between me and you, I think, says Jose, let her jump. Let her jump, start a new life. Like that. Right there, you're still a young guy. Okay. So now, this guy was a little frustrated. He grabs Jose by the shirt, and he tells him, listen, Jose, you think I'm a crazy guy? What, you think I'm crazy? He's about to punch him out. And Jose's like, no, please hold yourself back, don't get angry. He's like, listen, I'm not crazy. Of course I want my wife to jump. But the window is stuck, I need help getting the window open. So, Jose's like, oh, of course, I'll be there. Quickly, both of them went upstairs. And unfortunately, they came up a little too late. She already changed her mind, she wanted to stay alive. So now, Morai v'Rabotai, listen very carefully. We don't realize how a lack of patience really destroys so many aspects of our life. Not just in home, in the workplace, every single aspect of our life could really be destroyed if we don't have patience. And B'ezras Hashem tonight, maybe we could somehow try to find something that will help us maybe lessen this problem of lack of patience, and we'll see that our entire life will be changed altogether. So I'd like to start with a very powerful point, very powerful insight I saw regarding the Mishkan. The Mishkan, as we all know, was a very beautiful structure, magnificent structure that was the quote-unquote resting place of Hashem, the resting place of God. Right? Now, the Jewish people started building the Mishkan when? They started building it in the month of Tishrei. That's when Moshe Rabbeinu came down with the 10 Commandments, the second time. They started building the Mishkan, and it took them 6 months till the month of Nisan, till they actually erected it, till they put it to use. Okay, so they started building it in Tishrei, and in Nisan is when they started putting it to use. However, listen very carefully, the Midrash points out that they had a miracle. What was the miracle? The miracle was that they finished building the actual Mishkan by the 3rd month, in the month of Kislev. One more time. They started building it in Tishrei, and they finally put it to use in Nisan. But they had a miracle and they were actually done building it 3 months earlier. So the obvious question is, one second. If you already had it done in 3 months through a miracle, why only use it 3 months later at the end of 6 months? Does it make any sense? For example, they're building a new structure over here at the shul. Right? They're building a new Torah center, a mikveh, they're building a gym. Imagine they're totally done with the building, And then the rabbi and the board come along and say, ladies and gentlemen, we're not putting this building to use for another few months. What's the higay? What's going on over here? Once you have it done, put it to use. Why waste time? Why not use it right away? Same thing, if the Mishkan was done so fast and through a miracle, why wouldn't they use it right away? Why did they wait another few months till they finally put it to use in the month of Nisan? Very, very simple question. But the answer is a very powerful point made by the Ber Yosef, of Yosef Misalant. He says as follows. Just bear with me. He says, what was the Mishkan a kapara for? What was the Mishkan an atonement for? Why did they need the tabernacle? What was it needed for? So the Mishkan was a kapara, an atonement for the sin of the Chet HaEgel. When they made the sin of the golden calf. So Hashem said, don't worry, the Mishkan will be the kapara for that. So says the rabbi, what was the problem with that generation? Why did they sin in the first place? Why did they make this golden calf? What was going through their head? What made them do that? What was it? Because they knew that Moshe Rabbeinu had to come back in 40 days and 40 nights. Now they miscalculated the time. They were wrong with their judgment. And once they saw he didn't come back based on their calculation, khalas. They started panicking. They had no patience. And they went and did what they did. Right? So says the rabbi, he says, why did they do the sin in the first place? The sin was only done because what? They didn't have any patience. Hashem said, okay, now the kapara is coming along. The atonement is what? Is a mishkan. I'm going to give you a miracle. You will have it done very quickly, and then you be patient. Be patient, right? And work on yourself. And then you put it together. 3 months later, you start using it. This is something we have to keep in mind. The Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu went out of his way to do this miracle to teach us one simple point. To have success in life, you can't just jump and just do things without thinking. Chayavim savlanut. You must have patience. And if we take this a little further, we'll see something very interesting. What does CHAZAQ, what do the rabbis tell us regarding our homes? What is a Jewish home supposed to be like? It's supposed to be like what? A mikdash me'at. What does mikdash me'at mean? It's supposed to be like a minor sanctuary. Like a bet knesset. It's supposed to be minor. In other words, we don't have to bring the junk of the street into our house. Our house is supposed to be makom kadosh, a holy location. Right? Therefore, we should know that in order to have true shalom bayit, in order to have true peace in the home, in order to have the proper chinuch of the children, to educate the children, what do we need? You need patience. Just like the Mishkan, in order to have the Mishkan that was erected, you had to be patient and don't jump. Right? Same thing in the home. You have a problem, you have arguments, you have fights. What do we do? Oh, it wasn't meant to be. We're not supposed to be together. Sit down, talk it over. If you ever need a rabbi's advice, speak to the rabbi. But to constantly say, we fight too much with this, let's end it right here. Again, doesn't mean that always. But sometimes you have to realize, okay, Bonishev, let's talk for a minute, see if something could be done. If not, then not. Right? But unfortunately today, people just what? They just like jumping to conclusions that it's not meant to be, we can't be together, and he said this, she said that. No, in order to have a mikdash me'at, to be proper, we have to realize patience is needed as well. If we be patient, we'll see that many of the problems that we have could be solved. Not all, but many definitely could. And we'll show you how significant this concept of patience is based on Pirkei Avot. The ethics of the fathers. Right? It says in Pirkei Avot, what's the first few things it says? The first lesson we learn is, Hevu metunim badin, ve'ha'amidu tamidim arbe, ve'asu seyag leTorah. What does that mean? Hevu metunim badin means be diligent before passing judgment. Take your time, think it over, don't jump to conclusions. That is what Hevu metunim badin means. Then we have ve'ha'amidu tamidim arbe. What is ve'ha'amidu tamidim arbe? That means have many students. Okay? And number 3, v'asu seyag leTorah. Make a fence around the Torah. Those are the first 3 lessons we have in Pirkei Avot. So listen very carefully. Having many students, we know, is understand, very important. Without having many students, we won't have the continuation of the Jewish religion. We got to keep the tradition going. So obviously, it's important to have many students. Right? Making a safeguard around the Torah, it's obvious also. You got to protect yourself, not to do averot. Right? You got to make sure you have a fence around the Torah. Understandable. But patience? Patience is the first thing that the Pirkei Avot tells us. Hafla v'fela, but yes it is. It's telling us we have to be patient. In order for you to succeed in any aspect of your life, marriage, business, social, any aspect of your life, the key is hevu mitunim. Be diligent. Don't jump. Think about it. Be patient. That is something very, very powerful. And true, Pirkei Avot talks to judges, but we're all judges as well. When we have things going on, we come to judge. We jump and judge. For instance, let's just say a husband comes home from work. Right? His food's not ready. So what does he do? I can't take this anymore. No, hi, no, hey, what's going on? How you feeling? No! Hey, what's going on over here? The house is a mess. There's no food on the table. Start screaming. Why are you judging? Why, you think she was just sitting around doing nothing? Maybe the kids are giving her a hard time. Maybe she wasn't feeling well. People what? Jump to conclusion. Just scream at her. Who's she, right? Same thing you have. Sometimes, if you ever see a woman when she gets upset when her husband comes home, Bal Minan. I'm not speaking from experience. I heard. What happens is the guy comes home and he's 20 minutes late. Comes in. Where were you? Makara. What's going on? I got so worried. I thought something happened to you. I can't handle this anymore. Right? I thought, I don't want to see your face anymore. 1 second. You were all worried. Maybe something happened to him. Right? Maybe he got kidnapped. Maybe he died. Now suddenly he's alive. He's healthy. I don't want to see your face anymore. Maybe give him a chance. Maybe he was stuck in traffic. Maybe he promised he'll be home at 7 o'clock. Okay, things could happen. Maybe he had something happened. Talk it out. But no, everyone likes to jump to conclusions. You're this, you're that, not giving anyone a chance to speak. And we don't realize how this destroys so many aspects of our homes. But not only Havim Mutinim Bedin applies in the home, obviously it applies everywhere. Doctor's office. A guy sits in the office, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, 40 minutes, right? And how do they react? You ever see people sitting there? It's unbelievable. This doctor's office, always, every time the same story. I've been here for years. So why are you there for years? So why are you complaining? Right? But no, just grind it out. Make noise. Blame the secretary. Right? If you only realize, be patient. Utilize your time properly over there. You're sitting there in the doctor's office, open up a Tehillim. Right? There's a reason why you're there. Open up Tehillim, read a Sefer. To feel better. Same thing. You're stuck in traffic. Beep, beep, honking away. Getting angry, right? Screaming at the guy. Just be patient. Where is the savlanut? No one has savlanut. It's amazing. And I'll tell you guys one story which I read recently. It's out of this world. This is showing you what happens if a person utilizes his time properly and doesn't get agitated in times of disturbance. You'll see what I'm talking about. This story happened in Eretz Yisrael. There was a lady by the name of Sarah. A lady by the name of Sarah that was coming home from work, and she was driving. There was traffic as usual, but this was more traffic than the average day. Right, mamash? Bumper to bumper, no one's moving an inch, right? It's okay, people are honking, people are upset, what could you do? But she realized they're not moving at all, so she decided what she'll do is, she'll take out a Tehillim, right? Probably a car accident, right? She'll take out Tehillim, she'll start reading Tehillim, they're not moving at all. She opens up Tehillim, she starts reading, having in mind, if there's a car accident, the person that's hurt, I'm reading this for him or her. Okay, this goes on for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, she puts all her heart into it, she gets all emotional, she's reading it, Baruch Hashem, very nice. Now what happens is a few minutes later, let's just say 10 minutes later, Baruch Hashem, the traffic starts clearing up, she starts driving up, she passes the scene of the accident, she's police, she sees some ambulances, okay, and she notices for 2 seconds the face of the person that was hurt, severely hurt. She thought she noticed the person, she couldn't really tell, but she missed it and she kept driving away. Okay. Now, a few months later, she goes to some sort of gathering and she sees a bunch of her old friends and she meets an old friend of hers, Chana. Hey, Chana, how are you? Okay, besides, they haven't seen each other in a long time. And Chana starts talking to her. She's like, did you hear what happened to me? She's like, no, what happened to you? And she's like, I got into a major car accident a few months ago. And now Sarah's like, oh, it was you. I saw the face. I thought I knew the person. I can't believe it. It's you. And Chana tells her, yeah. And I want to thank you. It's because of you that I'm alive. Because of you that I'm alive. Okay, now Sarah obviously is getting a little freaked out. Now what she knows? She was laying there on the floor. She was reading Tehillim in the car, driving by, and there she was unconscious. Right? So, Chana tells her, come sit down. In the meantime, Sarah is obviously shaking. Right? And now they're talking. She's telling me, listen, I came home, I had a very rough day. I was driving on the street, on the highway, and as I was driving, I dozed off for that 1 second. And right then and there, I got into a terrible car accident. And now, she says, as she is in her car, lying there, her neshama leaves her. She died. Right? Her neshama starts going up to Shamayim. And in the meantime, she sees everything that goes on. Again, remember, who actually sees? Is it your eyes that see? No, it's the neshama that sees through the eyes. We talked about this many times. So once the neshama, the soul, comes out of the body, there's no gavul, there's no boundaries. You can see everything. So she's telling over to Sarah, my neshama, my soul came out, she says. It was starting to go up. I saw the paramedics trying to take care of her. The doctors were there, right? They're trying to revive her. In the meantime, she sees all these different cars driving by, looking at her. And she keeps going up and up and up until suddenly, out of nowhere, there's a strong force pulling her down. She sees letters coming, pulling her back down. And she's all confused. She doesn't know what's going on. And she notices the letters coming from a certain car. It was her car. And she says it pulled her, ad kei kach, she came back into her body. The soul came back into her body. This is a story once in a million. Right? But we see over here, this lady, for 7-8 minutes, stuck in traffic, decided to take out a Tehillim, right? Read Tehillim for the person that's hurt. Hafla b'fela, and we have a Maaseh Shaya, that what? She actually dragged the neshama back down from where? Unbelievable. We don't realize the power that Tehillim could have to a person. If we just sit down and read Tehillim, we're in the doctor's office, sit down and read Tehillim. Right? There's so many people out there sick, you never know what effect you'll have. Not always will we have stories of people saying, oh, you saved my life, I went up, you brought me back down. No, we're not going to see that too often. But if you realize the power of Tehillim, unbelievable. But we should know one thing. Never be discouraged, chas v'shalom, if you're reading Tehillim for a person, let's just say Joe is sick. Right? You're reading Tehillim for Joe, and you go for months and months, and then he dies. What? We sponsored shiurim, right? We read Tehillim every single week. How could it be he died? It didn't work. Right? The Tehillim did not work for Joe. Big mistake. It's a wrong mindset. Of course the Tehillim worked for Joe. We just don't see the results. Because when this Joe goes up to Shamayim, he goes up and say, voila, look how many hours of Tehillim were set for you. You see that? Look at that shiur that they organized for you. And all this is what? Being cashed in up in Shamayim. So even though in this world we're thinking, lo il klum, it didn't help at all. You should know to our eyes there was no benefit. But once that person, once he goes up to Shamayim, it's a totally different world over there. He goes up there, he got so much hours of Tehillim, so much Torah, so many berachot that were said on his behalf. So we should realize that just because we don't see everything, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Doesn't mean person needs a refuah, say Tehillim. Don't be discouraged. Right? Doctor says, no chance. Keep saying Tehillim. You're not just saying it for him to stay here. Right? Even if they say no chance, still you gotta say it. Right? But not just for here, also for there. So a person should not be discouraged. The power of Tehillim, ad Ein Sof. Right? That was just a side point. But back to what we were saying. We were saying with regards to being patient. Savlanut. How do we get to this point? It's very difficult. Everyone has a temper tantrum once in a while. How do we control ourselves? What do we do to hold ourselves back from just blowing up and exploding? So, psychologists would tell us that anytime you want to get angry at your friend, at your wife, at your husband, what you should do is you close your eyes for a few seconds, right? You count to 10 and you think of nature, right? You think of the ocean and the waves and the stars, right? So I once heard a rabbi tell this over, so one of the congregants screamed out, yeah, it doesn't work for me unless I think my wife is drowning in the ocean, right? Okay, so the rabbi told him, so think of that as long as you don't get angry. I said, oh Rabbi, but the problem is, once I think it, I really want to do it also, right? But obviously it's not okay. But again, these psychological techniques, it can work, but it can also not work. There's really something deeper in order to control our temper. So what is that? Something we've learned in the Bet Gavriel learning program upstairs. Something very interesting from the Chod Tzadikim. He goes through what ga'ava does to a person. Being a haughty person, a show-off, how he destroys a person's life. Then he discusses the pluses and minuses of being humble. Right? And then he tells us that when it comes to humility, if a person knows when to use it at the proper time, then such a person will reach a point of what? He will be what? A patient person. Yes, savlanut. Because think about it. What kind of people constantly explode? It's the people that think they're all that. Right? Ma, they're sitting at a restaurant, my food's not ready, how long can I wait over here? Right? Why the ga'ava? Who do you think you are? If a person would realize, I'm just like anybody else, right? I'm waiting, he's also waiting, everyone's waiting. I'm not going to start throwing out a whole fight over here. Be patient. But if you think you're all that, and the world's created for you, and everything's about you, then of course, and what's going to happen is, such a person, end of al-Kazeh, he will never be patient. That's number one. A person should work on being humble. Be anav. It's not going to hurt you, it gives you more respect. A humble person is the highest level that you could reach. But, furthermore, to help us with our patience, you should know another thing. Pay attention to people that are not patient. Right? Look at the guy in shul. Look at the guy in shul that gets angry when the chazan's too slow. Starts screaming. He's making a fool out of himself. Right? He thinks he's right and he's such a smart guy, but everyone's looking at him. It's a Ben Adam. What kind of person are you? Right? You ever see on a bus stop or in the train station, there's always that one or two guys that stand there talking to themselves. Unbelievable. Where's the bus? It's taking so long. Then he looks at you like, yeah, it's taking so long. Right? And we're thinking, what a wacko. The guy's crazy. What are they talking to themselves? Right? People that are impatient, they're making a total fool out of themselves. And we should realize, listen very carefully, we should realize that this isn't a system to hold you back from blowing up in public. There should be a system to hold you back from blowing up in the home as well. Parents, fiance, wife, whatever it is, spouse, doesn't make a difference. Why? Because everything we do, you should know, is being recorded by Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's embarrassing that we are fighting over these little petty things. Right? Constantly fighting and arguing and this and that. It's a busha v'cherpa. So if a person realizes that you're making a fool out of yourself, then you would think twice before you do it. If a person realizes how to control himself in these matters, then you'll see a totally different outcome. It's like I heard one time a person said that if a husband, throughout his marriage life, would sit down and learn Gemara every time he's waiting for his wife, he will finish Shas a few times. Right? There's a joke to it. But you know what? Maybe they should do that. Every time you're waiting for your wife, kacha, open up Gemara, go. A few lines. If it's before a wedding, you could definitely finish one page. Definitely, no question about it. Till they find the matching earrings, and the necklace, and the right skirt. You definitely have an hour and a half, right? So, oh Hashem, open up Sfarim, you guys will become mamash geniuses in Torah. Right? Person sitting in the bus stop, again, open up a Sefer. They say Rav Ovadia Yosef, Sheh Bari, when he had the break between Mincha and Arvit, a 5-minute break. 5-minute break between Mincha and Arvit, he will learn, I think it was Masechet Bava Kama. 5 minutes a day, a few lines a day. Right? And this way, every year, he finished the Masechet Bava Kama. You know what we do in that 5-minute break between Mincha and Arvit? So, what's going on? How's the stocks? You saw the game last night? 5 minutes of precious time. Let's not waste the time. Right? If we realize how to utilize the free time we have and be patient, then we'll see it's a totally different world. Like we mentioned, patience is needed in every aspect of life. I'll give you a few examples in several different scenarios. Whether you're married or not, have children or not, this is something that can really help you out. Imagine a child comes over to his father, and he starts crying, pulls on his shirt, Abba, someone stole my lollipop in yeshiva today. Right? How does the average father respond to this? Right? Sarah, big deal. There's people dying in the world. You're crying about a lollipop. Take it easy. Right? So the father, what does he do? Kaka takes out a few dollars, buy yourself 2 lollipops. Yeah, John, I love you, right? Get out of here. Okay. So that's how a father with no patience responds. Right? How should a father with sechel respond? And this I heard from Rabbi Chaim, a very good point. Father with sechel, how does he respond? He says, Ma, someone stole your lollipop? Why? Every lick that kid is taking, Hashem is very disappointed. He stole a lollipop. That's terrible. In other words, right now the kid, what's going through his head? Wow, stealing is a bad thing. Right? My father's anti-stealing. Hashem doesn't like stealing apparently. And then once you give your son a 2-minute shmooze and telling him how bad stealing is, what do is, here son, take $2, buy yourself another lollipop. Right? In other words, if a father or mother would just treat the situation with a little more chokhmah, the whole story becomes a whole shmooze for the kid. It's a lesson he'll never forget. You can either say, hey, get out of here, take $2, buy another one. Or you could say, what? Terrible. In other words, if a person would he would exercise his savlanut, his patience, then the whole chinuch yeladim is a totally different story. Totally different story. You'll see much more success. Another example with regards to limud Torah. People are learning Torah, frustrated. I'm not understanding it. It's not for me. Maybe I should just, go to basic things in life. I shouldn't be learning every night. It's not meant for me. And they start losing hope, and they're not interested in it, right? Big mistake. Big mistake as well. It says in the Gemara, Yagati umatzati ta'amin. If someone says, I put my effort and I understood, you believe him. But if someone says, Lo yagati umatzati, I didn't put my effort and I understood, don't believe him. No such thing, you got to put your effort. And if someone says, Yagati velo matzati al ta'amin. Someone says, no, I put my effort and I kept trying, but it's not for me, don't believe him either. That means he didn't put his fullest effort. If a person puts his effort in Torah, you're going to get it. It might be difficult, but you will get it. The Torah is open for all. But you need what? Savlanut, never give up. Once a person starts giving up, not for me, then you know what? Yeah. Then he really wasn't Yagati. You didn't put all your effort. You didn't put your effort. It's like we mentioned a while back with regards to Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was in Mount Sinai, in Har Sinai, for 40 days and 40 nights. He learned the whole Torah over there. From A to Z, he learned the whole Torah. And unfortunately, he couldn't commit it to memory. He kept forgetting. He learned, he forgot, he learned, he forgot. Right? And then finally, after 40 days, what did Hashem do? God gave him the Torah as a gift. You hear? After 40 days, God gave Moshe Rabbeinu the Torah as a gift. So all the commentators ask, does this make any sense? Why did you make him work hard for 40 days and 40 nights? He kept trying and he forgot, trying and he forgot. He put his effort, more effort, forgot. Why didn't you just give it to him as a gift on the first day? The second he came up to Moshe, here you go, take this gift, the whole Torah, it's all yours, you remember it. That's it, khalas. Right? Why did Hashem make him learn it 40 days and 40 nights? And he struggled with it, he had a hard time, and here and there. And suddenly, after 40 days and 40 nights, kach, it's a gift. Question asked by all the Mefarshim, and the Ger Rebbe says as follows. A very, very powerful point. He says, once a person truly puts all his effort into the matter, then God will give it to him as a gift. In other words, you can't just come, open the Gemara, God, come on, I really want to understand, He'll give it. No. Once a person puts his effort, then Hashem says, I'll open up his mind to comprehend it. So Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't just a guy like this, right? He kept toiling, and he kept putting his effort. And after that, Hashem said, I saw you, you tried, it's yours, it's given. You hear? This is something for all the men of here. Take this seriously. And the Torah is not for me. Limud Torah is for every single person. You're obligating it from once you will become chayav and mitzvot until the day you die, after 120 years. Every single man, single, married, young, old, doesn't matter. You are obligated to learn Torah. Right? Oh, I don't read Hebrew. Then okay, go to class. We have class here for people who don't speak English, Hebrew. They'll teach you how to read Hebrew. Right? Anything you need is there. Baruch Hashem, today it's available. They have books in English, books in Russian, books in Spanish and French. Right? You have no excuse to say it wasn't for me. It's for everybody. Right? But simply, what do we need? We need the patience in the study. You put your time, you put your effort, you'll see the fruits of the effort. That is with regard to learning Torah. Now we need patience also with regard to sinning. What does that mean, Averot? How do you need patience for sinning? Imagine if you have an urge to speak to Lashon Hara. Pick up the phone, you call up your friend Chani, oh my God, you won't believe it. Whoa, what happened? Remember I told you about Rivka? Yeah, what happened? And now you're starting to remember, Lashon Hara asur. But it's already, Mama, you're salivating, you have to say it. You can't hold yourself back. Right? So what should you do in that moment? You really feel like it's impossible for me to hold back. Right? So a person in that situation should exercise his or her patience. What does that mean? It's 8 o'clock. Tell this friend on the other line, listen, I want to tell you the Lashon Hara. You have this urge. I'll call you back in 30 minutes. I'll tell it to you then. What's the logic behind this? Because what happens is, right now as you're speaking, you want to let it out, right? You feel like it's impossible to hold back. So if a person says, I'm pushing off for 30 minutes, what you did is as follows. First of all, you prove to yourself you could hold yourself back from Avera. You prove that. In other words, many times you feel like it's impossible because I cannot hold myself back. You prove to yourself you can hold yourself back. Right? And then, many times, more often than not, once that 30 minutes comes up, you're like, wow, I just didn't speak Lashon Hara. It's the first time in 24 years. Right? So you say, maybe I won't say it at all. And then the other girl calls you up, Sunu, what is it? Say, I decided not to tell you. What? What kind of friend are you? You can't start and stop in the middle. All these stupid rules. Don't listen to them. Right? Those are things. You can't start and stop in the middle. You can't start in the beginning. Once you started, you got to stop. Right? But the point is, exercise self-control. You exercise self-control. You're patient. You push it off. Wow. You what? You mitgaber. Ezehu gibor, who is strong? Hakovesh yitzro. One who's able to what? To control his mind, control his actions. If you can control your actions, then you are truly a strong person. Not the guy that lifts weight. I'm sad that he's a strong guy, but he's going to die out eventually, right? But a person that can control his actions, his thoughts, that is a true gibor. That is a true person that is considered strong. Another example. Many times, youth, before they're married, they do a lot of stupid things. Right? Also, once we're married, we also do stupid things. But before, even more. Right? And we say, why can't we do this? Why can't we do that? And they don't want to think before they act. They always act spontaneously. And this is a Mislat Yesharim, is exactly what the Yetzer Hara wants you to do. Just act spontaneously. You want to do something, just do it. Don't think about it. So what do we have to do? The least we could do is just think. Is there a way I could get out of it? Is it really worth doing? Because again, once a person stops himself that initial time, you feel so good that the urge just leaves. Right? In any case, in any matter, if a person just proves he could stop, you mitgaber. However, if every single time you want to do something wrong, whether it's go somewhere you shouldn't go, eat something you shouldn't eat, say something you shouldn't say, every time you have the urge, you just go ahead and do it, then you know what? You're living your whole life, you won't realize it. Your life just spirals and you keep doing things, I can't hold back, it's too difficult. Why is God so rough on us? Why does He give us all these rules and regulations? Well, maybe put your effort, you'll see it's all within reach. Everything is within reach. But the key is what? Savlanut. Being patient. If you're patient, it's a totally different story. Another example, with regards to the coming of Mashiach. You think about it, there's so many people out there that are laughing at us. Mamash, literally laughing at us. Mashiach, forget about it. Sheker, it's all nonsense, made up, not going to happen. We've been in this world too long. Look, all these years people are crying and begging it. It's not going to happen. Right? We, Pashut, have to be patient and keep improving our religious observance. Keep pecking away, keep doing more mitzvot. Right? Because you know what? Eventually we know the truth. He's going to come. It's like the famous mashal that Rav Nachum of Breslov says. Very powerful mashal. He says, imagine you have a pregnant woman. And now she has a fetus. And every single month, there's an angel that comes and then starts giving the fetus updates. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Now you're in stage number 1. Your mom's throwing up a little, the past few days. Don't worry about it. Don't get scared. Gives him all these updates and he tells him in a few months, Be'ezrat Hashem, you'll be coming out to a world with people and great food and light and this and that. Now it's getting excited. There's nothing going on in there. Right? Okay. Second month, same exact story. Listen, let me give you an update. Right? You're in stage number 2 now. And I'm telling you, before you know it, you'll be out to a world of people, lights, food, this, that. Again, he's getting excited. Okay, wow, it sounds interesting. Third month, same exact story. Telling you, you're going to come out to the world. People, light, this, that. Fourth, fifth, every single month, the same update. Right? Eventually, the baby starts thinking, Shakaran, get out of my face. You're talking about this too much. And the bigger I get, the more stuffy it gets in here. I can't move. Right? What are you talking about? Dad doesn't believe it anymore. Right? But then, Pitom, the 9th month, right? You start having the contractions. And kacha, boom, he comes out, wow, he starts crying, whoa, this is real. This really happened. Light, he can't handle the light. Right? And now it's a totally different environment. It took 9 months. He lost faith, but you know what? Here he is. Says Rav Nachman in Breslov, he says, we hear so much, oh, Mashiach, you won't believe it. No more wars, no more famine, things will be perfect, peace, this, that. Every sermon, every rabbi speaks, and Bezashem, go ahead, telling them, amen, amen, and everyone's like, amen, yeah, whatever, right? So, we have to realize, this is a reality, right? Just because it's not happening, kacha, doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It's a reality. We just simply have to be patient. Keep doing more mitzvot, keep pecking away. The more mitzvot we do, the better chance of it coming quicker. So the Chachamim say, many times people say, what do you mean? Come on. Who are we? Look at our generation. Such a low generation. Right? They used to have Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. Right? They had the Rambam, they had Rashi. All these great tzaddikim, the Arizal, Or Chaim HaKadosh, the Chida, the Chavetz Chaim, the Ben Ish Chai. Our generation, what do we have over here? Right? If they couldn't do it, then what? We can't do it either. Right? That's what we start thinking to ourselves. Wrong mindset. And we'll conclude with this. It's totally wrong mindset. They tell over a mashal. They tell over a parable. They say a king had a huge wall, a brick wall. And he told Kacha, he took a group of 15, 20 strong guys. He told them, if any of you guys could break down this wall, then you will get, X amount of money. And I will promote you to have this in this position. Okay? So now, every single guy gets his round. First off, guy number 1, he comes in, he starts knocking on the wall. Keeps knocking and gives it a right and a left and a jab here and a jab there. Runs into it, nothing happens. Okay? Second guy, he tries the same thing. He runs into the wall, uses all his strength, all his mind, all his might. Nothing happens. Third guy tries it, nothing. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No one's able to bring it down, but they're trying to get the wall to shake. Right? Then they start all over again. Another guy comes along. He tries, nothing happens. Second guy, nothing happens. They keep going and going and going, and now they're all bruised up. Right? They're all in pain. They can't do this anymore. They start getting tired. Tell the king, we give up. We can't do it. Right? And then comes along, a little snooker comes along, skinny guy, 150 pounds. He said, I'm going to give it a shot. Right? Comes along this 150-pound guy. He runs into the wall, gives it a big knock, and the wall, pitom, kacha, starts shaking a little more. More knock, chalas, the whole thing comes down. Everyone's like, wow. We have all these giburim, 300-pound guys that lift weights, whatever it is, and they all gave it their best shot, and they couldn't do it. Right? And now we have a regular guy. He just comes along with 1 or 2 knocks, get the whole thing down. How is it possible? How did he do it? So what did the guy say? He says, listen, what do you think? I'm such a strong guy. You think I have supernatural powers? All the hard work the other guys did. Right? The first guy gave it all his best shot. Second guy did the same thing. And every single guy just kept bruising themselves up. They did it for a few hours. Once they all gave up, there wasn't that much for me to do. Right? All he had to do was what? Give it a few more knocks and the whole thing would come down. And kachaya, he came along, gave it a few knocks, khalas, the whole wall came down. Tell us the Chachamim, same thing. We can't come along and say, if the Rambam generation couldn't do it, how could we? Right? If the Chida's generation couldn't, how could we? That would be the wrong mindset. Because that guy that just broke down the wall could have said, if those 10 people couldn't do it, then how could I do it? Right? But no, he realized that they did all their job. They mamash gave it their fullest effort. Right? Once they couldn't go on, that was his turn. Then he took care of the rest. Same thing, Morai v'Rabotai. Okay? We're not as great as them. Our Limud Torah is nowhere near where their Limud Torah is. Right? But nevertheless, we have to realize we have to keep pecking away. Keep trying, keep pushing, keep trying to knock the wall down. Every mitzvah you do could make a major difference. We just don't realize it. We don't believe in it. That's the main thing. We don't believe that we give some extra tzedakah, or we help out another guy that needs advice. We don't believe that it really makes a difference. We think it's only something that's physical over here. Okay, he got himself another sandwich. Okay, Baruch Hashem. Right? Okay, so he bought his kids new clothes because of my tzedakah. Okay. But we don't realize every mitzvah we do over here has unbelievable effects up above. We just don't see it. If we could see it, it would be amazing. But then again, we would see other things as well. Right? Therefore, we have to realize, lo lityayesh. En davar k'de lityayesh. We must what? Constantly strive to do more and more. And never ever neglect other people. This is something we keep stressing in these events. Never neglect others. You have a family member, you have a cousin, you have a second cousin, you have a neighbor that's not religious, right? Don't just say, hey, how are you? What's going on? Everything all right? Oh, Hashem, okay. Yeah, bye. Right? Try to be mikarev others as well. Try to bring them closer. Don't just ignore them. Don't ignore anybody. A person must what? Think of others as well. Think of others. Don't just be self-centered. Because the same way we became religious, right? Someone spoke to us, someone inspired us, the same way we could make others religious as well. So therefore, Morai Rabotai, of course we ourselves got to do more mitzvot, but men, you should encourage other men to come join the kollel over here. Classes in Hebrew, English, and Russian. This place should be packed every night. Baruch Hashem is a nice crowd, but it should be packed. Don't just say, oh, I'm coming, Baruch Hashem, I'm there. And the vakazeh. Every single person must what? Must think of others. And Bezat Hashem, bizchar zeh, we will all knock down that big wall, and we will all see, Bezat Hashem, the light of Mashiach tzidkenu, b'mera b'yameinu, amen ve'amen. Now, Morai Rabotai, please give your undivided attention to Rabbi Ilan Meirov. Huh?